and Dr. Ahmad Zamri bin Mansour, Head of Graduate Program Center for the Study of Leadership and Educational Policy, Faculty of Education, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, will conduct the briefing in English.
The topic for my briefing for this afternoon is Say No to Plagiarism. My name is Dr. Ahmad Zamri Mansour, and I am from Center for Education, Leadership and Policy from the Faculty of Education. Okay, so say no to plagiarism. Okay, so the first question is, what is plagiarism? We really need to know the meaning of this before we go on to talk about plagiarism. Okay, just have a look at the the cartoon here. Okay, what is plagiarism? So plagiarism is a form of teaching, as you can see here. Okay, yeah, that's right. The way I understand it, plagiarism is when someone copies or uses somebody else's work and acts like it is theirs. Okay, so that's pretty clear. So if I copy something, if you copy something, you should give the author credit for it, which means that if you want to use other ideas, ideas belong to others, you need to put uh, the owner's idea in your citation. So on the right, you can see the picture here. All right, so if you give no credit to the owner of the idea, so that's considered stealing. Yeah, stealing of published material. Or if you take the information and then you claim as it is your own and you make some modifications there, it is also considered plagiarism. All right, so what is the consequence of plagiarism? As you can see, it is a sin. In a university, it is a sin. So please do not copy paste literary material. So because it is considered an act of fraud, an act of stealing ideas. All right. So as you can see here from the left, okay, the consequence of plagiarism is severe. If you hold the position of very important position in your country, for example, you might have to step down because of plagiarism. You do the plagiarism now, but people will find out later, and then you have to step down, as happened to some people, in Taiwan, in Germany, in Poland, and so on. And for us, okay, it means no convocation, because you're going to be expelled. If the offense is severe, you're going to be expelled from the university. You're going to be expelled from UKM. Okay, now let's have a look at what UKM say about plagiarism. So this is from the document, UKM's prohibition against plagiarism. It is from the subsidiary legislation, Universities and University College Act 1971. So this is the for the country document passed in Parliament. And we have the University Kebangsaan Discipline of Students rules. So this is UKM rules 1999. So let's have a look at what UKM says about plagiarism. This is basically the things, the guide, and also information about plagiarism. So we start with number 1 first. All right. So number 1, the student shall not plagiarize any idea, any writing, data, or invention belonging to another person's. Okay, for example, you stole some data from your friends. All right, so this is a very it's not a good idea, it's a very bad idea to do that. So please do not be an idea thief, because a student should not plagiarize, should not steal any idea, writing, data, or invention belonging to other person. Okay, so that's the first one. And then the second one, okay, uh, so plagiarism includes, the first one is the act of taking an idea, writing, data, or invention of another person and claiming that the idea and writing of or invention is the result of your own findings or creation. So you claim that as your own. Yeah. So for example, you claim that the writing is, for example, from your own findings. Yeah. But you lied. It is actually from some other researchers. Okay. The second one is an attempt to make out, or the act of making out in such a way that one is the original source or the creator of an idea, writing, data, or invention which has actually been taken from some other sources. It means that to imply that you are the owner of the idea, but in reality it belongs to others. So it is okay. So something that you have to bear in your mind. Okay, now we go to the next one. A student plagiarizes when he or she first publish with himself as the author an abstract, article, scientific or academic paper or book which in wholly or partly written by some other person. Okay, so on the right is the image, and this is actually the actual case happened in Singapore, because somebody has stolen the idea. Okay, this author has stolen the idea from the other person. Okay, so it is in the news last year about a London chef, Elizabeth Hayes, cookbook withdrawn after plagiarism allegations. All right, so this is from the original author. Okay, original author which complained about the situation. Okay, number 2, a student plagiarizes when he or she incorporates himself or allows himself to be incorporated as a co-author of an abstract. So you see an abstract, okay, so that the smallest piece of writing, just an abstract, or the bigger one, the article, the scientific or academic paper or books, which he has not made any written contribution to the abstract, to the article, to the paper, or to the book. All right, so it is wrong. For example, you allow yourself to be put as one of the authors and you don't have any contribution to the book or to the paper. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, so just I try to sketch a scenario here where you and your friend, yeah, okay, and A says, could I put your name as one of the article in my journal articles? And you say, why? I am not part of your research team. I am not contributing anything to your research. But A say, because I love you so much. And then you say, if that is the case, then okay, you can do that. So this is wrong, okay, for whatever reason, because you don't contribute anything, so you cannot put your name, and you cannot allow your name to be put in the journal article. Okay, now we go to number 3. Okay, forces another person to include his name in the list of co-researchers for a particular research project, or in the list of co-authors for a publication when he has not made any contribution which may qualify him as a co-researcher or author. Okay, so this is no contribution made, but yet forcing other person to include his name. All right, okay, so just have a look at the picture here. That won't do, James. As my student, you need to make me a co-author and cite at least 2 of my papers in every one of your publications. All right, so forcing another person to include your name is also wrong. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Okay, D. Extract academic data which are the result of research undertaken by some other person, such as laboratory findings or fieldwork findings or data obtained through library research, whether published or unpublished, and incorporate those data as part of his academic reason without giving due acknowledgement to the actual source. Okay, so that is also wrong. All right, this is also wrong. To steal or to take lab report, finding some of the data from the finding, or even not from report but from literature review. Your friend haven't published the literature review yet, but he asks you something and then he share you, the document, and what happened after that, you steal, you stole some of the data and then put the data into your own research. All right, so incorporate those data as part of your academic research. It's okay, for example, if you ask the person, you give the credit, which means that you do the citation, but in this case you don't cite, the name of the person, the author, the owner of the original source. Okay, so to use the idea is okay, but you need to include his name. You need to cite his name in your articles. Okay, let's go to the fifth one. A student plagiarizes when he or she uses research data obtained through collaborative work with some other persons, whether or not that the other person is a staff member or a student of the university, as part of another distinct personal academic research of his, or for a publication in his own name as sole author without obtaining the consent of his co-researchers prior to embarking on his personal research or prior to publishing the data. So if you do some collaborative work, for example, group assignment, and after that you use the data for your personal academic achievement, you publish the data with your name in it, and you don't include the original owner's name, and you don't cite any of the relevant names there, so that's also considered plagiarism. Okay, so that's number 5. All right, what about the next one? A student plagiarizes when he or she transcribes the ideas or creation of others, kept in whatever form, whether written, printed, electronic form, slide form, or whatever form of teaching or research apparatus, or any other form, and claims that whether directly or indirectly, that he is the creator of that idea. Okay, so that's also considered stealing the idea. For example, if you have the slide of your friends, and then you copy some of the research findings there and put that into your paper, okay, and you don't cite your friend's name, okay, so that's also considered as plagiarism. Okay, next one. Translate the writing or creation of another person from one language to another, whether or not wholly or partly, and subsequently present the translation in whatever form or manner as his own writing or creation. So this one is easy for you to do because you just use the Google translation. Okay, so you got some useful idea from other sources, and then you Google translate the idea, and then you copy and put that in your writing, and you didn't cite, yeah, you didn't cite the relevant sources. Okay, when you do not put the original sources, readers will think that the idea is yours. All right, so this is wrong, because the original idea belongs to other people. Yeah, although you have translated the writing, you also need to need to cite name of the author. Okay. All right, next one. A student plagiarizes when he or she extracts ideas from another person's writing or creation and make certain modifications without due reference to the original source, and rearrange it in such a way that it appears as he is the creator of these ideas. All right, so you extract ideas from others, and then you make some modifications in there. Just use change some of the words, some of the verbs there, and then you claim it is your own. All right, people will say that it is your own if you do not cite, the original source. You just leave it just like that. So this is, people will say, this is your idea. So it is really important for you to put the citation, the original author. So this is the next thing, which is about the procedure in managing plagiarism cases. Okay, so in UKM, so we have some procedures. For example, if a student is suspected of committing the plagiarism, okay, there are 4 steps altogether. The first one is act on complaint. Normally we have this from the lecturers, who suspect a student. Okay, because the lecturer is an expert in a certain area, he knows that whether you are plagiarizing or not. Or the other way is through the Turnitin software. Okay, so probably the lecturer get the report from the Turnitin, and then there are more than 30% in term of similarity index. All right, so this is a good reason, a good ground for him to complain to the investigation committee. Okay, the second stage is the investigation committee is formed, and then after that the investigation committee get some information and some evidence in order to verify whether there is a case of plagiarism, or is it just a perception. And after that, okay, stage number 4 is the decision of the disciplinary committee. All right, okay, so the first one, act on complaint. Okay, the examiner or the lecturer provide evidences that the student has plagiarized. All right, so the committee will need a good evidence in terms of report, written report, or in terms of turning in report to show the extent of the plagiarism happened. Secondly, a written report on the plagiarism case will be submitted to the dean of the faculty. Alright, and if there is a oral examination, the oral examination will be postponed. So this actually happened during the evaluation before the viva. Okay, examiners will be given times to check and to evaluate the thesis. Alright, okay, and probably the examiner have the suspicions that the student plagiarized. Okay, So this is what he needs to do, as an examiner or a lecturer, to submit a written report to the dean. And the oral examination will be postponed until the decision of the case, if officially obtained. All right. If there is no case, and then continue. But there is a case. Okay, and they need to know the extent of the plagiarism, whether it is major, whether it is minor, or somewhere in between. Okay, and the second stage is the investigation committee is formed, and the members of the investigation committee will be one professor or an associate professor as the chairperson for that committee. Secondly, the dean, director, or representative, and then chair of center or department, and then lecturers in the relevant fields, and assistant registrar as secretariat for that investigation committee. Okay. All right, and then the role of the investigation committee is to investigate the case of plagiarism, to verify whether there is a case of plagiarism or whether it is just a suspicion, just a perception. All right, to report on the extent of the plagiarism. Okay, so if there is plagiarism committed, to what extent? Yeah, whether it is a major offense, minor offense, or somewhere in between. Okay, thirdly, to ask the student suspected of committing plagiarism to be present so that he or she can defend, can give explanation. Okay, so she or he will be given opportunity to defend himself. Okay, and number 4, to explain the implication of the offense committed, which include further investigation by student disciplinary committee. If the offense committed, the plagiarism committed, is severe, and then the case will be transferred to student disciplinary committee. Okay, so this is the extent of the plagiarism. So you have the minor offense, you have the major offense, and you have somewhere in between. Minor offense, if it's contain only few sentences, okay, and if there are sources which are not accurately cited or not accurately listed. Okay, what I mean by cited here is the citation, in-text citation. And what I meant by listed here is you need to list, the reference, the original sources that you make reference to in your list of references. So everything cited must be put in the list of reference. Everything appear in the list of references must be cited in text. Okay, what about somewhere in between? Okay, probably some sentences, and many of the sources are not accurately cited. Okay, not accurately cited, so you need to make some corrections to that. Or major offense, everything, okay, or almost all, nearly all, are taken from other sources. Okay, you can easily see that if you use the Turnitin. Okay, so more than 30% taken from other sources that also considered plagiarism, major offense. Yeah, taken from others or taken from your own assignment. Okay, do you know that if you have your assignment in your first year, and then in the second year you take another course, and you use the assignment in your first year in your second course, that also considered plagiarism, although it is your own work. All right, so you need to start your idea afresh. Do not use ideas that you have already used before. Yeah, but you could do that if you cite, you cite the sources. Okay, for example, you have submitted your paper in a conference. All right, so in your second paper you want to use that idea, so you need to cite your own name. Yeah, and in the list of references, just write down your name, the name of the journal, you know uh, your first article was published, so you have to do the citation. Okay. How to cite? Okay, this is a very important lesson for you. So whatever you do, whether in your assignment, in your course, 8014, 6283, 8024, okay, so you need to write down the first is the in-text citation. So it goes something like this. Okay, so this is the Alvaro's idea, and you need to write down Alvaro 2017. Okay, and then in the reference list you need to put uh, Alvaro in full. Okay, so this is the Alvaro's name, the initial, okay, and then the year. Okay, in UKM style we don't use the bracket. All right, so this is APA style, and then the name of the article and the name of the journal, okay, the volume, the page, and also the URL for the article. So that's the right way to do it. Okay, put the in-text citations. All right, okay, and if okay, this is paraphrasing, which means that you rewrite the idea using your own structure, using your own language. Yeah, okay, you still need to cite the original source. Okay, if you do the quoting, so it goes something like this. Okay, Milgram 2011. Okay, so Milgram is the original author, and then you put the quotation mark in here, so which means that you copy word by word. Okay, so you are allowed to do that, but please don't do this too often. One or two is alright, because you want to keep the originality of the idea. So you put like this, end with quotation mark, and you need to put the location. Here it means the page number, here. Okay, for the in-text citation you don't have. Okay, you don't have, but if you want to write, it's okay. But for the quotation, it is a must for you to write down the page number. Yeah, the page number or the location. Yeah, because in website you don't have the page number, so you need to write the paragraph number, for example. All right, okay, and what about the decision, the verdict, guilty or not guilty? What happened if you are guilty, and what happened if you are not guilty? Okay, for minor offense you will be given warning. If you if you are guilty, oral examination will be postponed, and then there could be resubmission of thesis after improvement. Okay, so this is the minor one. So you need to improve, you need to change, or you need to delete that part, and you need to write that part all over again, using your own language, using your own sentence. Okay, so that's for the minor offense. And for the major offense, okay, so your case will be transferred to student disciplinary committee. All right, okay, so for the student disciplinary committee, the members will be the vice chancellor, the top people in the university. Okay, and there is a chairperson, and there will be two representatives from Senate. Okay, what is Senate? Senate is the governing body, the highest governing body in universities in Malaysia. So, two representatives from the Senate. And the chair of the investigating committee, if needed, will be asked. Okay, investigating committee is another committee before, yeah. Okay, and the chair will be asked to be present as a witness. All right. So if not guilty, oral examination will resume. Before it was postponed, but you can, uh, you can have the oral examination because the process will resume if you are not guilty. But if you are found to be guilty of plagiarism, there will be sanctions by the disciplinary committee as in the UKM rules. Yeah, and based on Senate decision, student can resubmit after comprehensive improvement. So there could be another things here. Okay, resubmission of thesis, and you need to do a comprehensive improvement. Except in cases the thesis is recorded as fail and the student is expelled from the university. Okay, so the worst is the worst scenario is student will be considered fail and will be expelled from UKM. Okay. Okay, we go to the next one, which is on the disciplinary action. Yeah, one or any combination of this disciplinary action. First is the warning. Second is the fine, not more than 200 ringgit, which is about US $47. Suspended for a certain period of time. Okay, for example, for 2 semesters, but you can resume your study after the suspension period ends. Or another one, you could be expelled from the university. So that will be the possible disciplinary actions. Okay, now we go to the next one, how to avoid plagiarism. How to avoid plagiarism, first is always use in-text citation, list of references, and you could also check what you have written using the Turnitin software to check similarity index. Okay, for the in-text citation, okay, do not just Control C and then Control V the information. You need to paraphrase the idea, and then you need to acknowledge the source. Okay, so whenever you are quoting, you need to acknowledge the source, and you need to acknowledge to write down the location. Okay, and location here means the page number or the paragraph number if you are referring to a website or electronic document. And for the table and figures, you also need to acknowledge the source, yeah, whether it comes from the original source or whether you adapt it from another source. Alright, so this is paraphrasing and in-text citation. Alright, so this is the guide, how to avoid plagiarism. Okay, so if the source text is the one in yellow background, okay, progress has been made slower than was anticipated. Alright, so you need to rewrite that again, use your own idea, your own sentence. So progress in the area has not been rapid as expected. So you see here in paraphrasing, you need to do two things. First is write down the author's name, the original author's name, Baylis, and write down the year of publication. So here means to acknowledge the source. Okay, what about quoting? Okay, quoting, yes, you can do that. You can copy Control C and then Control V, but you need to to state the source, multilingual here, the year, and also the location, the page number, page 701. Another thing is just to indicate this is something that you copy word by word, you need to use the quotation mark here. Alright, so turn it in. Now regarding turn it in, so in UKM we use turn it in, and when you are about to submit your report for your proposal defense, you need to use turn it in. Okay, and you can pass, you can submit the report if your chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, your report for your proposal defense, if the similarity index is less than 30%, yeah. So if it is more than 30%, you need to do some corrections and run through the Turnitin software again. If you get less than 30%, then you are allowed to submit. Otherwise, you cannot submit your chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Alright, so Turnitin is a web-based plagiarism prevention system. Okay, so it uses text matching software, whatever you have written against whatever available in the website, in the web. Okay, number 3, it empowers students to do their best original work, because you can check your own work, yeah, whether the similarity index is higher than 30 or less than 30, and so on. Okay, number 4, to ensure original work from students and address even the most sophisticated potential misconduct. Alright, okay, and this is the report looks like. What the report looks like, it gives you the similarity index in here, 27%, and also the sources of your ideas. Alright, so similarities. So idea from the Universitas Islam Indonesia is 15%. Alright, and the other sources, less than 4%. Alright, so in the Faculty of Education UKM, similarity index must be below 30%. So you have to make sure when you submit for your proposal defense. Okay, so that's basically my briefing. Okay, if there is any question, I am happy to answer your questions. Okay, any questions? Okay, no questions. Alright, okay, thank you very much. Alright, so yeah, that's all my briefing for this evening. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Doctor.
teacher.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you,
welcome,
Doctor.
welcome. If you have more questions, you can ask me later. Okay, bye bye everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye 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 bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care and stay safe, Doctor.
Alright, thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Please, to all students, please return to the main room. Thank you.